What's going on, everybody? This is episode 55 of alaunesports. We have some great talks today. You can always listen to alaunesports on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Episode 55, we're gonna be speaking about the Bucks, the New York Knicks, and Manchester City. And your host today with Mike and Richie. What's going on, Mike? What's going on today?
Not much, man. No, I could have had a great day, but Manchester United botched it as usual. So yeah, my good day turned into an upsetting day. But how are you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. A little bit tired, man. But what was so upsetting?
That Manchester United played such a poor game versus laughably poor team in Tottenham. Like, they absolutely got dominated today. It was absolutely embarrassing versus a team that just got tucked in by Newcastle a few days ago.
A team also who I believe, I don't know how true the story is, but they said they were going to refund their
the away fans that went to Newcastle.
Didn't the coach, like the coach that took over after Conte left, got fired or something like that?
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see how you had a bad day.
I think that was his top assistant, and he got sacked. And then
have we ever seen that before?
I not to my recollection, no. Like, so quickly too. Like, basically just spent like a month and a half to after Conte left, and he got sacked.
He's on Lampard mode. And
then Ryan Mason comes in and like absolutely beat the brakes out of Manchester United today. Like, it was embarrassing. Like, Bruno Fernandes definitely missed what could have been a goal of the season candidate. Like, beautiful move, but it is what it is. We dropped some points again. It's going to be a brutal end to the season because we don't have our center backs. But hopefully we could get some wins to end the season strong and solidify a Champions League spot. But it's looking really, really difficult.
And right now the table looks like Arsenal is first, 75 points. Or Manchester City is second with 73 points. They still have 2 games in hand, so they basically have their destiny in their hands. We have Newcastle third with 62 points, and we have Manchester United fourth, 60 points. And outside looking for the Champions League position are Tottenham and Aston Villa. They both have 54 points. Tottenham is fifth and Aston Villa sixth. What a great work too. We're not gonna speak about them, but what a great job by Unai. Like, doing a very good job with the team. Putting the team in Europe right now in Europa League position. So, clap.
100%. I think they were 15th at the time he came to the club.
Yeah, man. Good evening. Good evening. What's he say?
Who?
Good evening. When he says good evening.
Oh.
All right. So yesterday there were some couple interested games in the NBA playoff 2023. A couple closeouts. Yesterday the Miami closed out. The New York Knicks closed out. The Lakers should have closed out, but didn't happen. But let me give you a couple scores from yesterday, Mike. The Knicks beat the Cavs 106-95, closing out 4-1. The Lakers lost to the Memphis 99-116. Now it's 3-2. Lakers are still leading. The Heat closed out the Bucks 4-1. The score was 128-126. What people can describe as a scrappy ending, a loose ending, huh? And you wanted to speak about the Bucks, and I'm gonna let you speak freely about it. I don't know if you have something you wanted to go attack specifically. Do you want to talk about the journalist who asked the question, or you want to talk about the collapse?
No,
you have the floor.
I mean, no, like it's open ending. I definitely want to see what your thoughts are on, like, why you think that ultimately the Heat ended up beating the Bucks in 5 games. But to me personally, like, I think Chuck said it on Inside the NBA with the crew. It's like, you have to be lucky to win championships at the end of the day as well. Um, Luck takes a huge part of it, and maybe like it's a conversation that we're probably going to talk about in the future. But with all these NBA stars and with the new collective bargaining agreement that just passed, basically stipulating that to make an All NBA team, players have to play a minimum of 65 games now. Um, and it's something that's been said in the past is like, the best ability is availability.
Yeah.
It was, you see Kawhi, you see Paul George, you see Kyrie, a lot of these NBA superstars, just constantly just being on the sidelines all the time, and they're making top dollar. In the case of Paul George, I think I know he wants to be out there. In Kawhi's case, I think it's a situation that you know we'll probably revisit, but he has two NBA championships at the end of the day. I just don't think he's worth the top dollar draw anymore. Like, yes, when he's on the court and he's healthy, is one of the best players in the world, but I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be available. And one of the most available superstars in the league is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, he only played 2 games. Like, that's the reality of it. But he did choke, in my opinion. Like, you can't be a reason that your team lost. And I ultimately believe he's the second biggest culprit in his team losing. Yes, he came back and he was the best player, but he still missed a shit ton of free throws. You have to knock down your free throws in pressure situations. And in the crucial moment of the game, when he wins the NBA, when he wins the tip off, like, he was so afraid of getting fouled that he just threw the ball away, which created a turnover. But to me personally, I've never been a fan of Coach Budenholzer. I remember when they lost the previous year before they actually went on to win the
Yeah.
the NBA championship.
Toronto knocked them out, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and then Toronto went to the finals with Philly. Um. Or no. Or yeah. Toronto beat them. Toronto beat them in the conference finals 4-2, like four straight losses. In the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, a coach, like, I'm not a fan of Coach Bud. I don't think he's an elite coach whatsoever. Like, in all due disrespect to him, I just don't like him as a head coach.
Mm.
I don't think he's good, man. Like, there's so many questionable calls he made in this series. Um, obviously every pundit says it. Like, why is Giannis guarding the inbounder? Why do you take off Brook Lopez? Why is Brook Lopez in so many drop coverage in game 4, where Bam Adebayo is able to pick apart the team and create so many open, easy baskets for Jimmy Butler and his other teammates? It's like, so many questionable calls. Why is Jay Crowder not playing enough? When you actually need defense, why is Giannis not guarding Jimmy Butler a little bit more when Jimmy Butler averages what, Richie?
37, 36.7. I'm gonna double check that again.
37 points.
Yeah,
In 5 games, you let the guy cook you for 37. At some point, guy, you have to make an adjustment, for fuck's sakes, man. And I'm frustrated because Giannis is my second favorite player in the NBA, the African king, the face of the league. It's Steph Curry, it's Giannis. Those are my 2 favorite players, and I have to watch this guy not even be in the second round of the playoffs now. Like, come on, dude. Like, they don't even have, and the whole frustrating thing is that they don't even have Tyler Hero. He goes down in the first game as well. And you're getting beat by guys that were not even drafted. Like, it is like an epic collapse. It's an embarrassment. And I would like look, I know he has to feed his family, but I'd be so embarrassed that I'm like, yo, I'm turning in my resignation letter at this point. Like, I'm sorry, I let my team down, I let the franchise down. It's so bad, it's so poor, man. But yeah, what did you think about the series? What do you think like led to this epic collapse?
Well, after the game one, I was like, okay, the Bucks might be in trouble because we weren't sure how long Giannis would have been out.
Hmm.
Game two, I saw something that I'm like, okay, the Bucks might be okay. Um, Stalling a little bit until Giannis comes back. They score. They beat the Heat by like maybe 15 or 20 points.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, they lead it. They let it. They led the game all throughout all four quarters, if I'm not mistaken. What do I think about this collapse? I think like losing in five is very bad for a team that ended it with the best record. Um, I believe in both East and West, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Best record in the
Yeah,
NBA.
and a team that most people had going
Favorites to win the NBA
favorites to win the
championship.
championship. A team that most people were even saying that it might be a 4-1 situation against the Heat, especially the Heat that were a lot of people were not confident with them after they lost against the Hawks, and also the way they lost against the Hawks, like offensive rebound, not being aggressive in the boards. You're like, okay, Giannis and Lopez is gonna feast,
A playing team, man.
but the collapse is also. I was talking to you guys about it. It reflects again how the Bucks were during December, if I'm not mistaken. That was when Giannis was out. There was an article I was reading how they were talking about how inconsistent the Bucks were. They don't have the identity that they used to have. Drew, they mentioned Drew Holiday. They mentioned many players that used to be more intense, working very hard, turnovers, guard rebounds, every little details that can determine a game and everything. And it kind of raised my awareness. I'm like, okay, if Giannis goes down, if ever goes down for a long period of a time, the Bucks are vulnerable. Like they're a beatable team, and we've seen that. Um, Unfortunately, like you said, when he came back, there was a lot of errors from him as well. I'm not gonna put too much blame on them because I feel like it's still it's a big story. Like so, you still expect a lot of them, even if he doesn't have enough rhythm because he came into a series where the Heat were already on speed number 7, if I'm not mistaken, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's
so
why, that's why I would say, like, yeah, sorry to cut you off. That's why I would say, like, I don't put too much blame on him because it's like basically his first one. I mean, I know over the years we've always said like, hey, he has to change, he has to evolve because I remember when the Boston Celtics came up with the wall, to
oh yeah,
guard
yeah.
him because obviously he has no perimeter shot, he has no dribbling ability to actually break down defenses or players one on one to create his own shot. And he's evolved. He's made adjustment. He has a little bit of a mid range now. He could, play with his back to the basket and make some quick turnarounds and stuff like that. But he's still extremely shaky at the free throw line, and his game is predicated on a lot of confidence. And yeah, man. That's why I was like, yo, Bud is like the main guy because I mean, the last two games that they lost, they had double digit leads and at some point in the fourth quarter, and you still end up losing the games. Like it's just absolutely embarrassing. And the other thing is that like yes, they needed to upgrade on that roster. There's a lot of decisions that they have to make going into this off season. Brooke Lopez is an unrestricted free agent. Chris Middleton has a player option. I'm pretty sure he's going to pick it up. Or I don't. Well, actually, let me not say I'm pretty sure he's going to pick it up. I mean, he's coming off of an injury riddled season where he wasn't really consistent. But let's be real honest, man. Chris Middleton isn't him. He's not him. Like Giannis needs a better Batman or Robin to him being the Batman. Like it's just not good enough, man. It's just not good enough. And it's frustrating to watch one of the best teams in the league, one of the best player in the league get bounced out in the playoffs
in
and
five,
in five
gotta
games.
mention that too. Do you think the coach is gonna get fired?
I don't think so because I don't think that organization itself, they have the foresight to take such a huge risk, and to take Giannis out his comfortability area. Like, I think he's comfortable. I think he likes Coach Bud, and I think they like the continuity that they have with the team. I think the GM will probably just look at this situation like, oh, this is a bad day at the office type of
Yeah.
situation, where it was like, they could learn from this and they could have hunger going into the next season to actually uh get revenge.
Yeah.
And maybe next season could be a success story. But I mean, if I'm them and I'm looking at the market and it's like, oh, Nick Nurse is available, it's like, just like, when they fired, who was coaching? Was it Lampard? And when Tuchel was available,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, like, no, there's a better person out there. Like, let's go get him. It's like, I don't think they'll have the foresight to do that. It's like, I don't think they think that way. I don't think they think like a Masai Ujiri, like in the Toronto Raptors situation, for example. It's like, oh, like, let's fire our current GM and give Masai Ujiri millions of dollars and full control of the front office because he knows what he's doing. Let's let Masai Ujiri trade for Kawhi Leonard, even though it's a risk, for one to rent this guy for 1 year. Like, I don't think that organization thinks like that. But if it were me,
He's out of
like,
here.
dude, don't even bother coming to the exit interview, dog. Like, I'm getting on the phone. I'm calling Nick Nurse first. Is like, hey, how you feel about coaching Giannis Antetokounmpo? And he says, I would love to. He's like, hey, give me 15 minutes. I'll call you back. Get on the phone with Nick Nurse. Is like, hey man, thank you for the championship. Thank you for the job that you did. Thank you for your contributions to the city of Milwaukee. But this is where we part ways. Pack your bags. Don't even come back to the arena. Like, we're good. Thank you.
Well, that's a fair point. So now the Heat is gonna move on and they're gonna play the New York Knicks
Yes,
in the
sir.
second round. We can
Bing
transition next.
bong.
We actually can transition to Bing Bong.
Yeah.
The city's lit. New York is going to the second round. They haven't done that since 2013, if I'm not mistaken, when Carmelo Anthony won this and the J.R. Smith Chandler when they beat the Boston Celtics. They went to the second round and lost against the Indiana Pacers. But now they're going to the second round. They're gonna play against Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. So let's circle back a little bit on the series between Cavs and the Heat. Ended in 5 games. Did you even expect that the Heat? I mean the New York Knicks would have.
Well, huh? Yeah, the Knicks, yeah.
Yeah, Would you ever expect the Knicks beat the Cavs in 5?
No, I think when we recorded our podcast, when we were making predictions, I think I had them in 7.
Yeah.
I don't know if I picked the Cavs or I think I picked the Knicks. Like, living here in New York, I think I picked the Knicks. I hope I picked the Knicks. But yeah, I thought it was
the Knicks. I think before, like maybe 2-3 months ago, like when we were talking about scenarios, you were like, it's looking like the Cavs can take it. But the more we got closer to the playoffs, you did say the Knicks.
Yeah, hopefully. I'd have to go listen back to the to go back to the podcast. But yeah, I definitely thought it was going to be a series, especially a 4-5 matchup. I definitely thought it was going to be a series that went to 7 games. Never did I expect, this well-coached team to turn up like that. I mean, it's probably clear to me that, JB Bickerstaff doesn't really have that type of playoff experience yet. But I would say ultimately it's also down to the players and the personnel. Mitchell Robinson absolutely bullied Jared Allen and Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
Throughout the entirety of the series. Dude, it's some of those things that are kind of frustrating. It's like where's your mentality wise,
offensive rebound percentage that says 34.9 against the Cleveland 23.2.
It's like the playoffs are a grind, man. It's about mentality. Like, I think a lot of players that go deep in postseason, they'll always say that. It's like, it's about execution and it's about mentality at the end of the day. Like, once after 2 games, both teams know what each other is going to do. Like that, I think that's one of the reasons why throughout the playoffs, you kind of see like it's a game of chess. Like every team has to make adjustments. There are players that never got burned in the regular season that are coming into series that are getting, like we saw with Duncan Robinson, for example, like guys that had nothing to do in the rotation for months on end, but at some point they get some type of look in the playoffs. Like we see in Golden State make adjustments and benching Draymond Green. Like even though Draymond says that he said it, but Steve Kerr understood. It's like, yo, dude, I need more offense. I need better ball handling. I need better ball movement if I'm going to play against the Sacramento Kings. And it's like, the playoffs are a game of adjustments. And you're telling me over 5 games, those 2 teams right there are the reasons why it's so frustrating. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Milwaukee Bucks made absolutely 0 adjustments throughout their series. And that is the most frustrating part. I never expected them to lose like that. I mean, I think over the last since we've been doing this podcast, I've spoken about not Jimmy Butler. I've spoken about Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is a volume scorer.
Yep,
that's who I think he is. I don't think he's a superstar. He's a volume scorer. He's a guy that you're gonna give him 25 shots, he's gonna make 12. Like, but I think a lot of NBA players can actually do that as well. Like, is he a good skillful baller? It's like, absolutely, yes. But is he that guy? I don't know. I don't know if he's that guy. Like, you get what I mean? I don't know if he's the guy to get you.
You're not that guy.
I don't know. I don't know if he's a guy that's gonna get you deep into the postseason. Like, in my opinion, he's an option 3. He's an option 3, maybe a 2, but in my opinion, he's an option 3 guy. Like, he's a great ball handler. He has good shot making ability. He can attack the paint very well, but I think he's streaky as well sometimes. I think he could be a defensive liability at times as well.
I think the only adjustment he made was I'm gonna get to it, but Bickerstaff, he added Caris LeVert to the lineup in Game 3 and benched Okoro. But you can finish your take. Sorry.
No, and I think one of those a lot of pundits would say is that at this point, because when Markkanen was still on the team, JB Bickerstaff's ideas were it was new, like, because he was starting 3 bigs and 2 guards at the time. Like, before Donovan Mitchell came to the team, it was I think it was Darius Garland and Caris LeVert in the backcourt, and then Markkanen, Allen, and Mobley.
Was it? Oh no, Sexton was already hurt. Sorry.
Oh no. Yeah. So Sexton.
Yeah, Sexton and Garland.
It was Sexton and Garland, not Caris LeVert.
I think LeVert was still in Indiana.
Yeah. So yeah, and then that formula was working, and I was like, yo, how do you start 3 bigs and you're winning games? But their defensive rating was through the roof. They were one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, and it was a very interesting idea. And now, you get into the playoffs, and there's this game I always like to play at the beginning of the year, not the beginning of the year, but like midway through the year, like around January, like when you see the table, you see the standings, and I'm like, all right, out of those teams, who are the pretenders? Who are guys that are gonna make the playoffs, but for a fact they're just gonna get bounced. They're not real. Like, like they're a good regular season team, but
once the playoff starts, when serious stuff stops, like, they're gonna fold.
Exactly. So, like, the Cavs are one of those teams that I was looking at. I was like, yo, man, is that really gonna work in the playoffs? But they played so well during the regular season. They had Donovan Mitchell. They have JB. They have Darius Garland, who's an all-star as well this year. It's like, all right, it's gonna be a tough series, but I think the Knicks got it in 7. And then you turn around and put this up. But like, congrats to Tibbs. Like, we focused a lot on the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I want you to talk about your Knicks, man. What do you think? Because I think they did a great job.
All throughout those 5 games, I've always said it since the beginning. I'm like, guys, if we actually play the Cavs, we're gonna beat them. And people are saying that, okay, I don't see where you're coming from with that. They have Garland, they have Mitchell. Mitchell's gonna be able to score 45 points, and Garland's gonna have 30. I'm like, yo, Mitchell could score 45, Garland could score 30 points. We're still gonna beat them because that's not what determines the series. It's details, guys. Like it's details. I'm not like I'm a fan, but I'm not biased. Like at the beginning of the season, obviously I would have told you Cavs is gonna beat us. But throughout the season, I'm watching, and then especially I'm watching the games between the Cavs and the Knicks in the regular season, which we dominated. And I'm like, oh, this team, we can actually beat them because there's two things. Coming towards of the season, one great thing that happens. Remember when I said that I wish the playoff starts tomorrow because this team is peaking.
The momentum
is there. The team is peaking. The bench is just. You could start the bench and they can like guys like Quickly is gonna give you 30 points. Guy like Obi Toppin is gonna give you 30 points. Hartenstein, he find his way towards the end of the season at the perfect time, doing many things, being available for guards when they need to do a quick pick and roll or find him to get the quick
push shot floater.
Defense is being better. He's able to maintain the paint for Mitchell Robinson when he goes to the bench or if he's in foul trouble. Yeah, man, it's just let me talk about the Cavs and the Knicks series. The first game, that's the game I was saying everyone. I'm like, yo, this game showed me that the Cavs are soft. And I'm not gonna use the word I was using last night. It's PG-13 over there, but yeah, because like it's a playoff game. Yeah. Guys, like, yo,
turn up.
People are gonna punch. People are gonna test you. Rendo is gonna test you. He's a very physical guy. There was some stuff that happened and Mitchell was like, hey, yo, like, chill. I'm like, oh, chill? Bro, you gotta punch back. Ain't no chill, bro. You gotta punch back. You can't let this thing get to your head. You got like, oh, they always tell you guys, like, when everything's not going your way, you have to stay focused on the game because it could disappear. And that's how they lost the game because they were complaining to the ref in the post conference. They were complaining, Bickerstaff, Okoro complaining about like wrong. They were complaining about Brunson like not really getting getting like fake fouls from what I was saying, like the physicality. That's when I noticed. I'm like, okay, in terms of physicality, we're gonna beat them. I was still worried about. I'm like, okay, if Mitchell and Garland can still score 40 and 30, and then their bench shows up, that kind of like it's gonna be tight. Game 2, we got washed. And that's one of the I want to say that's one of the, I wouldn't say like a big adjustment, but Garland showed up and then murked us. So that was kind of worrying about like the mentality of the Knicks. Can they come back in the Garden? The Garden's gonna be there, but can you come back and take care of business? And yeah, they showed me like one major guy like that kind of like determined also the series is Mitchell Robinson with the offensive rebound. He was everywhere. Isaiah Hartenstein, like he was getting Highland behind him, getting long rebounds. The guards were getting rebounds. One thing that Josh Hart said that if you look at some clips, he's really right. He gets rebounds that breaks teams. And in game 3, he took one of the rebounds that broke their heart at the end because they needed that rebound. Push back, Brunson 3. Those are the details I'm talking about. Those are the things I was telling people. I'm like, yo, don't worry about Donovan Mitchell getting 40 points. He's going to get his. He's a volume scorer, like you said. Let's talk about the details, the intensity that those Knicks brought. Like, yo, offensive rebounds, Mike, defensive rebounds, punching back, not letting the guys come punch. They didn't let the only time they got punched first was game 2, but they adjusted in game 3. They took care of business, man. They just took care of business.
100%. What? Under 100 points or 90 points for how many games? Like, yeah.
And Donovan Mitchell is a guy that they're always saying that he's one of the guys at the top 8, averaging a lot of points. Look at game 3, 11 points. What a job that Deuce McBride did on him. Deuce McBride is one of the in our team. He's one of the best defensive point guards. He will stay in front of you. He's a pest.
That's good.
He stays in front of you, and then that's one of when a guy is able to stay in front of his guy, it helps the other guys. They don't have to like
So yeah, they don't have
it
to
doesn't
move.
collapse the defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
They don't.
yeah, man. And then you got other guys that can do it. You got Hart coming on the bench that can do it. You got Quentin Grimes. Bro, you know how tiring it is for Donovan Mitchell? Like, okay, Quentin Grimes going to the bench. Then you got Deuce McBride guarding me, bro. Like, kill me now. Like, So yeah,
Yeah.
man. Like mentality is
Shout
a big thing, man. Like, shout out to the Knicks. They maintained the mentality. They broke
100%.
their
What
hearts, man. They broke their hearts.
Evan Mobley under 10 points for the 5 games, averaging. It's like, dude, you just got to come on, man. You just got to be better. You just got to be better, man.
Yeah.
You can't that's just not feasible, man.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible. But shout outs to Tibbs.
He did his thing, man.
Fantastic job. Shout outs
Trusted
to
Obi
RJ.
Toppin when Randall was poor.
Correct.
Trusted him finishing that fourth quarter, man. Like Tibbs, he wouldn't do that in regular season. He would get Randall right back and lose that game. But shout out to Randall, man. He twisted his ankle yesterday. He didn't go home. He went right back and sat there and
came
then
back to the
for
bench.
his team.
Yep.
Unified team, bro.
It's very good. The vibes are good right now, man. Jalen Brunson. I think that was the turning point of the season. I think when Jalen came early and I think he was kind of trying to find his space. Maybe, obviously RJ Barrett is the future of the Knicks that we think that he is. So they're investing
22 years old, guy.
Yeah, they're investing a lot in RJ and obviously Randall. So he wasn't really taking the reins as much early on, but after the All-Star break, man, Jalen Brunson just is like, nah, I'm that guy.
Listen,
this is my team.
I'll get you guys going when I want to. He kind of did what Kemba Walker. I don't want to say nothing about Kemba Walker because he had knee problems, but he kind of did what Kemba Walker didn't do. At the beginning, you will see Randall getting Kemba the ball, yo, this is your team. But Kemba was always being a little bit shy, sharing the ball too much. Sometimes you got to initiate the offense, then get the guys going. Or the opposite. You get like Donovan Mitchell did in the game too. When they won, he yo, Garland, you're going to get going today. You're going to score 30. I'll get mine when I'm a volume scorer. I can get mine whenever. And it worked.
And I want to echo Chuck's sentiments. I know they were clowning him, but yeah, this guy might be one of the best free agent signings of all time, man. I know it's one season, but
Joshua might be the best traded.
Oh, 100%.
In February. 100%. I put in that shit in front of KD. And I'm a huge KD fan.
What an impact. What an impact.
They don't even have no playoff experience. Never been to the playoffs. Never been to the playoffs. He's acting like he's been there, but hey, man, he's not a pretender.
New York.
Let's get it, man. What's your prediction for the Heat and then the Knicks?
It's gonna be a tough series, but I just don't think that the mentality of the Knicks and what a Tibbs coach team has, I just don't think that they're gonna have the display of what the Bucks had. I think, with all due respect, Spo is an exceptional coach, so it's not going to be an easy series by any stretch of the imagination.
There's going to be adjustments.
But they do not have Tyler Hero. I just don't think a combination of Bam, Jimmy, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, I don't think that group, that core is enough to beat the talent that the Knicks have right now. So I'm picking the Knicks in 6.
I'm picking the Knicks in 7, but I like the Knicks in 6.
Yeah.
I like it, man. So we can get to the mic and be like, hey, yo, Jimmy. What? Hey, yo, Jimmy. Don't you wish you want to be in the Knicks? It's going to be fun. Sebastian is a Heat fan, so we're going to see who's going to be smoking on that pack.
But I need Randall healthy, though. If he's he's not healthy, I would like for them to keep him out at least one game. If he's not completely, if he's at 80%, keep him out one game. Keep him out one game. But
no news on him yet. I'm waiting for another 24 hours to see what the news are, but there's no news from him yet.
First game Sunday.
Sunday at they haven't set a time yet, but it's probably gonna be one of those 3:30, maybe 6.
Yeah,
we'll see. All right. So let's move on to the last topic of the day, and Manchester City, who had a very very great game yesterday against Arsenal. Kind of one of the games that kind of probably determined the Premier League again.
Yep.
Going to Manchester City. Before I get it going, I just wanted to quickly say what a game that Haaland had. Like I know he missed a lot of. I know that people criticize him a lot, like about missing so many goals yesterday. But in terms of what a game he had, there's two plays I saw and I saw the growth. There was one play that Jack Grealish was on the left side. He was running, and then he was waiting for support. The old Haaland from September or October would have been going like like the way he runs so fast and he's going straight to the goals, not looking behind, just waiting for the pass on the front, which is not really sometimes easy for the midfielder, depending of the view. But he waited, he gave the support. He was gonna pass it to the person on the right side, but he saw like a cutting position and he took a shot. It went out. It was very close. And there was one of the one with the goal as well when he received the ball. I think it was like Gabriel on his back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Gabriel.
And he received the ball. Great pass to the. I'm not sure who he passed it to. I can't remember.
It was Foden.
No, not Foden. Foden came in the second half.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Haaland goal.
No, I'm talking about the Kevin De Bruyne first goal when he came in, received the ball, and then passed it to the midfielder, and then Kevin De Bruyne got it and scored. Like you see more of a support. Remember when CBS crew Thierry was asking like they want to see that growth out of him, like being a supporter. Yep. I think like I don't know if he really heard the critiques. He just embraced the critiques and then he's being better. I like that for him because people were saying like he was a tap merchant, but we're seeing a little bit more of him.
Especially me.
Yeah, everyone like yo, come on, like he was a top merchant. There's no jokes about it. He was true. 4-1 against Manchester City. A very intense game. Can we say that Arsenal played a bad game, or just Arsenal got outclassed by a better team?
Huh? Golf clap.
Okay. Or like is it lack of depth? Like okay, like you're down 2-0, right? What a heartbreaking second goal. Like you thought it was not gonna be a goal because of a offside. Ben White kept it in, but that's a heartbreaking going to the halftime. But when you're Arteta and you want to change the game and you look at your bench, do you look at who do you have to change the game? You have
only Trossard. That's it.
But does Trossard has that in him? Can he change a game? Can Jorginho change a game? Can KTR change a game? You don't have players that can change the game. So at this time, you have to demand your players to give you a little bit more. But what if it's Cap?
Yeah. My golf clap is to Arsenal for just making it an exciting year, man. Like, I definitely believe there was going to be another runaway season by City. After they added the best striker in the world and Erling Haaland to the squad, because we saw them play last season without a number 9 and saw how many goals that they missed, but they still scored the most goals in Europe.
And the team you had with the opposite Suarez.
Yeah. Yeah, the new
maybe
Suarez.
next year. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, man. And then, Haaland, even though he started off hot, but he wasn't like, again, we were calling him a tapping merchant. And over the last few weeks, just like you said, man, 100%, like with the tactics that Pep, that's why, yesterday I just gave it up, man. I said it.
I was like, damn,
to you.
I said it up, bro.
I said it to you. Nah, he's the GOAT. Like, he's the GOAT. And that's why I'm like, this guy's like the team and him
kept it
they just seem like they're on a mission right now. That's why I'm like, this seems like the year. This seems like the year that Pep will finally win the Champions League with Manchester
I'm not mad
City.
at that. At that take, because like the tactics like they changed and the way they implemented it's very working. Like I was saying about the Knicks, they're peaking, and they're gonna play against a Real Madrid that they're at a peak.
Yep. And Real Madrid super inconsistent.
Real Madrid is a shaky. The only good thing about is Real Madrid in Champions League is a different Real Madrid. That's the only thing you can hope for. But they're very shaky. You saw them against Girona. Yep. How do you forgot his name, score 4 goals on you?
Castellanos.
Come on, bro.
But yeah, man, how
You can't lack
Haaland,
attention against these guys.
Erling Haaland, amazing progression, and we're seeing what made him such a great player at Dortmund. Now at City as well, we're seeing all the talent and the skill level that he has at his disposal. He's not only like a great instinctive finisher and acrobatic guy, but he has the passing ability. He has great technical ability. Grealish, in the absence of Foden, basically solidified his spot, like in and showing why they actually bought him for £100 million. Like, guys having an incredible season. Um, and yeah, man, to your point and the question that you asked, yeah, like Arsenal, yeah, they do lack depth. There is some quality, I think, overall, like in the front half of the field, they have all the talent that they actually need because they're scoring goals. They play very free flowing football. But in the back, since Saliba's been gone, the backside has been in absolute shambles. They got Xhaka back for the game. They were probably missing him for a little bit, but Ben White at right back, I don't get that decision. Rob Holding is not a starter in the EPL. I'm sorry, and Gabriel is just a guy that's just prone to so many mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they need to revamp, and the thing is that they bought a central defender in January in Kiwior, but I'm questioning that decision because when you're in a title race, you're supposed to purchase players that are ready to help you
Yeah.
to get you
To
to
where
that
you
finish
to
line.
yeah.
To get you to that finish line. That's why you bring a guy like Trossard on.
Yep.
Trossard is an impact player.
Yeah, he is.
But you bring Kiwior on, but well, how many games has he played? How many minutes has he played for you? I've only seen him come on like once in the 86th minute for Arsenal. I don't know how many other games that he's played. So I'm questioning the decision to buy that guy. And Tomiyasu, you're iffy about him playing at right back. So Ben White is starting for you at right back, but he's not good enough to be a right back in my opinion, even though sometimes you play like in the inverted wing backs and stuff like that, where you see Zichenko come into midfield a little bit more. But it's like, so yes, they're lacking depth, but there's still a question of like, yo, you got to show up, man.
Yep.
I don't know. Mikel Arteta said that he couldn't wait for the Manchester City game. Once he said that, I knew I wanted to tweet it out, but I didn't want to jinx it. But I knew that they were going to get dominated.
Bro, once I saw that Manchester City came out with the Premier League trophy, I'm like, yeah, it's a wrap.
I thought that they were going to lose the game 3-0 because the way that Arteta came out and said he can't, I knew he was saying that to motivate his team. And I knew, like, once he said that, I think he felt that his team is afraid and his team is afraid of the moment. And I don't want to accuse anybody because, at the end of the day, we're just making assumptions. But over the last few weeks, I think obviously you don't have to be a genius to see like, yo, the moment is getting to them and they're starting to feel the pressure. It's not about tired legs. They can't tell me that they're tired. You're not playing Europa League. You're not the Carabao Cup's been done because Manchester United won it. You were not even close to being in the finals. The FA Cup, you're not in that competition.
So you're not playing. You're just playing the Premier League at this point.
You're playing one game a week, dog. Like, what is your excuse? Like, you should be prepared for those games, and they just weren't, and they just didn't. It's the game yesterday was just a masterclass. It was an absolute domination from.
And you know
City.
what's crazy? They had a great season.
Fantastic. That's why I gave him the golf clap, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic season. You guys, they made it interesting. We thought it was going to be a boring season, especially after Liverpool, the way that they started. We saw Liverpool being poor. Chelsea was terrible. We know Manchester United is in a transition. So we're like, yo, who's going to challenge City? Arsenal gave us a fantastic year. Thanks to them, man.
I feel like they had to have Pep think about something. Like, I need something. And 100%. That kind of reminded me, I don't remember exactly from the top of my head what the tactical change was for Pep, But there was a season. Remember the season when Klopp was complaining about like, oh, there was wind and stuff like that. Um, I think they lost that season. Like that season they lost, but Pep did something about in December where he changed the positioning of his fullbacks. I want to say this is the year when he was tucking in Cancelo in the midfield to play with Rodri. Um, every time it gets to December and January, I think the tactical change he did this year was a bit later, but every time he has something, when he feels like I'm like, okay, I can grab this, he makes something. It's either works or it's a failure, but most of
Yeah.
the time, 9 of the 10 of the time, it works. Most of the time, it doesn't work in the Champions League, but the Premier League always works, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah. Yep. Great tactical changes. He's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT. And everybody's Kevin De Bruyne, man.
What a player, man!
What a player
What
there.
a
What a
game he
player.
had, also. But they have a lot of dynamic players, man. They have Kevin De Bruyne, but what a player Bernardo Silva is, man.
100%.
Bernardo Silva is a great ass player, man. Um, Stone is playing unbelievable with next to Rodri.
Yep.
Rodri is one of the best defensive midfielder as well. But I wanted to ask you something. What's it looking at for like the Champions League?
I don't know, man. Especially after the performance that Real Madrid put on display versus Girona.
What do you see like a
Um,
score at the Bernabeu in about a couple? I want to say 2 weeks.
is the first leg at the Bernabeu or the
Yep,
way? Okay. I mean,
Bernabeu.
my only concern is again, Militao is missing for that game. Not that I'm particularly happy, especially with the display that he put versus Girona. He was absolutely abysmal versus Castellanos. Um, I honestly, man,
Pianos.
I could see a 2-0 victory for City.
At
And
ho-
I would be hoping that's the only thing that they concede versus City.
and then you
Um,
see in a way that City just wrap it up again.
yeah, it's going to be very important that we don't concede at home for Real Madrid. But the way
And
that this team is playing, especially, I think a lot of people are theorizing that Pep has been conserving Kyle Walker a little bit. I don't know if people are reading in too much a little for Vinicius, for example. Um, but I think there are ways to exploit this City side, and I think Vinicius have the right attributes and the right tools
they're not gonna
to
give him space.
to exploit him. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. But I thought in the game that, for example, Martinez, he didn't really have. I saw him tucking in inside a little bit more because he didn't really have
That space that
in
usually
it.
gets outside.
Yeah, on the outside. Same thing for Saka. So we're gonna see. I think Rodrigo is gonna be extremely important to
Yeah, they made it
actually.
very difficult for Every time he tucks in, like there's a guy that's always closing him out, and
Uh,
nine times out of 10 he lost the ball. It was very hard game. That's what I was saying. Like they had to up their level to think differently, but it
but
was just that those players are so young. It's like they got
bef-
outclassed. Yeah,
no, no, go ahead, go ahead, go
and
ahead.
also
Let
they
me
got
finish it.
outclassed by a better team.
But the last thing I want to say before we get off
Yep.
is Arsenal is missing that guy. They're missing they're missing a guy that like one thing I like about Haaland, man. Haaland is dude will he will talk some smack. Like dude like
Mr. Doveman with his hair,
he
like
yeah, he reminds me of Ronaldo, dude. Like he's gonna talk trash and he's gonna back it up. Like you need that type of mentality sometimes on your team, and I think they have that it factor now. They have that edge. I was looking at Arsenal. It's like, who's that guy? Odegaard isn't that guy. Like I don't really see him as that guy. Gabriel, I'm not Gabriel.
Gabriel Jesus.
Jesus,
No,
yeah, he's not.
he's gonna be
Like
more on the floor than
they need, like like a lot of people are they hate Bruno Fernandez, but I love his passion, man. He's
yeah,
always talking. Sometimes it gets annoying,
yeah.
obviously,
It
because
gets
you're complaining a lot. But that's why sometimes I don't really like Vinicius. He gets away with it a little too much because like sometimes it's like, yo, bro, focus on the game. Like
yeah.
right now, and you're not channeling that energy towards the game. You're channeling it more into like annoyance
You're
and
giving
more
him
than
more
anything.
strength.
Yeah, but Xhaka tried to do it against Liverpool in a terrible manner. And it's like, you need it from a guy that actually could back it up. Xhaka's not skillful enough to back it up. You don't take over games like that, bro, to be able to talk smack like that.
Need him to protect you when like there's like a scuffle, like he comes in and
but Haaland, it's like, yo, he's gonna pester you, he's gonna keep moving, and he's gonna talk that talk, man. And I like it. I like that type of passion. It reminds me of Ronaldo when Ronaldo talks smack to the opponents, when he talks smack to Diego Simeone. Like, sometimes, like, to be a champion, you need that guy that has that it factor, that villain.
I want to say something, but I don't know if I can say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
He lets his hang. Hey, Mbappe did it multiple times. Mm-hmm. Ronaldo did it against Simeone multiple times. Hey man, like when you're it, you can do it.
Yep,
because you're gonna back it up.
100%.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week, possibly with new shows, new games. The second round is gonna start as well. I think on Sunday. Yeah. Denver is gonna play on Sunday also against the
Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns, yes. Ooh, good series. And then possibly the next round is gonna be Lakers and Golden State, possibly, if it goes well. Or Memphis against Sacramento, or Sacramento against
the
Lakers. Everyone want to see the Lakers go. So get it done, guys. And on the east side, we have the Knicks against the Heat, and then Philly against either the Heat or the Hawks. And yeah, man, we're heading towards the end of the playoffs, kind of, sort of.
Second round.
Let me chill a little bit. So this was episode 55. Great talk, Mike. Any last words you want to add? Any high or lows? Anything you want to say?
What's my high this week, man? I don't like
low.
The low is definitely Giannis, man. Like, it was so sad seeing him in the press conference as well. I understood his frustration at that point, especially coming from a loss. It's like, dude, like, it's such a tough job for players to actually go have interviews on podiums after you just lost a series, especially in the manner that he lost. But eloquent way to put it. That's definitely my low. Yeah, I don't know if I have any highs this week, man. Do you? Well, you definitely have a high.
Yeah, my high is definitely the Knicks making to the second round after a long period of a time. Yeah. And also after getting bounced back by the Hawks 4-1 and 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I can't really think about any lows, to be honest. I'm not going to say Real Madrid was a low against Girona, so Real Madrid is just a weird team in La Liga. Even Barcelona is a fucking weird team. Like, they lost against Rayo Vallecano over Wednesday, but I can't think about any lows.
Yeah. Trey definitely made me shut up, though.
Ice Trey. All right, that was a great show, Mike. Episode 55. Peace.